to our sources. In this book, we intend to give as much material as possible on the belief of the Toba Batak in the High God, so as to penetrate into the structure of this belief, which are our sources. First of all, the pustaha, Book of Bach, see photo 1, must be mentioned. Although they are chiefly used as allegory books, nevertheless some of these books contain material of great value for our subject. They cannot, however, be easily understood since they are written in difficult style and because many words used do not occur in the normal colloquial Toba language. Therefore, the existing dictionaries often let us down. This should not, however, lead to a neglect of this kind of literature. Beside these allegory books, there are a score of folios, about 300 pages each, in the University Library at Leiden, in which we find all sorts of material, religious subjects, myths, folk tales, prayers, etc. A source of great value to acquire knowledge of the Toba Batak religion. This collection of Batak texts has been gathered by the already mentioned by Dr. van der Toek during his stay in the Batak regions for 6 years, 1851 until 1857. After this is dead, the whole collection has been bequeathed to the Leiden University Library. At the beginning of this century, Dr. Winkler, who had been active in the Toba regions as a physician in the service of the Redice Mission Gesellschaft for many years, also collected much important material for his work published in 1925, The Toba Batak of Sumatra in Gesunden und Krankentagen. This author takes a special interest in a descriptive treatment of magic and augury, but it will be easily understood that this material is a collection of all sorts of subjects, for neither magic nor augury as separate domains. Now, this complete collection has been presented to us by Dr. Winkler. Since the different domains of culture are hardly or not at all differentiated, we have decided not to restrict ourselves to the myths only, but also to give attention to the rites closely connected with them and though briefly to the system of relationship and the adat. The above-mentioned collections do not meet the purpose apart from the fact that some texts can hardly be understood without the aid of a commentary. For these reasons, we have decided to complete the material at hand with the results of the outfield work and to elucidate the obscure points by our investigations. We have spent 6 months on this work, with nearly 3 months in Samosir, 2 months at Habinsaran and Uluan, and over a month at Humbang successively. We have not visited the districts of Nai Pospos and Hoglang. At most, the material collected by Van der Toek comes for these regions, being a Toba Batak by birth, and therefore more easily accepted by the informants that non-Toba Batak research workers. I have tried to make the most of this position. For this reason, we have taken up our residence with the Datu. A Datu is an augur, a priest and physician at the same time. The names of this Datu and their respective addresses are to be found at the end of this work. A great advantage of this method is that one can easily approach to the subject, but there is another side to the picture. Not only does they stay in the villages, many of which are secluded and scattered among imposing mountains, demand a good deal of energy, but it has been a very hard task for me as a Toba Batak to maintain the correct line of conduct so as to ensure a certain distance for the sake of objectivity between the informant and his interrogator, without, however, raising a suspicion of reserve. Besides, we are fully conscious of the risks of this research method. However, has undertaken a similar work can hardly deny that the informants are sometimes inclined to satisfy their interrogators with simple interpretations so as to get rid of them as soon as possible, or to quote Soderblom, "Sie sagen auch, was ich nun etwa in Augenblick in dem Sinn kommt. Das Werden des Gottes Glaubens." Mindful of this danger, I feeling myself of the useful hints given in Dutch inquiries on anthropology, but conscious of the fact that I am a Toba Batak, I have acted as follows. After having been informed, as well as possible by the local authorities about the deity living in the districts, we acquired the assistance of a man now to be popular in the district concerned for the duration of our research work. After having instructed this man, we started our work. It was this guide who had to do the talking so as to maintain a certain aloofness between the informant and ourselves. We did not tire our informant by keeping him talking too long, but we interrupted our conversations by going together to the sawas or by bathing in Lake Toba or in a source by sitting at fireside in the evenings, talking about some occurrence or other in the outer world, in order to obtain different versions of a myth or of a ritual prayer, etc. It is of course necessary to have many informants, and the investigations should not be restricted to one district only. In this manner, we have been able to collect much material, myths, drawing light upon those already known, and many tongo, short forms of ritual prayers to be addressed to the deities of upper, middle, and underworld, each ending with an umpama. An umpama is a small verse of 4 lines, of which the two last contain the wish or moral reason. It is a risk undertaken to translate the text of Tongo as a bataichi, whoever occupied themselves with the sort of literature without ill form. But by recording as many versions of these prayers as possible, and by comparing the divergent explanations of the datu, we can very often ascertain, or at least approach, the real meanings. We have also made notes concerning the word of spirits, the tondi, translated by Bataichi by Su, and the proceedings in the course of abuse, sacrificial celebration organized by the inhabitants of a whole region, and we submitted these notes to the approval of the informant concerned. Besides, we have informed as fully as possible of the meaning and the function of the cock oracle and the staff tunggal panaluan. We have even had the privilege of attending religious celebrations so that we could compare the information received with the real proceedings. It is hardly necessary to say that we have come across pustaha in the course of our journey, the contents of which we have been able to study, and in this connection the following fact is worth mentioning. We have had the good luck of making acquaintance of Mr. G.M. Hariara at Butar, who have been collecting material on Batak religion, language, literature since the beginning of this century. It is quite possible that an unknown missionary has inspired him to do so. As a matter of fact, he possesses an extensive collection, and moreover, he has also finished a manuscript of a dictionary covering all Batak dialects. We have not only copied a good deal of his collection, but we have also had the privilege of exchanging views with him for more than a month. The fruitful results of these discussions were still further increased by the presence of Guru Silalahi, a famous datu from Tomok, Samosir, whom we had already visited before in his dwelling place, and also by the occasional visits by the principal datu from Humbang, who have all been converted to Christianity.